separate, can we find ourself? I think of something like that, I think, wasn't it? We're not separate, can we find ourself? The abbreviated way of looking at the third seal, in Buddhism is no self, which sounds really weird in a way, at least at first sight. You think, what does that mean? Because I'm here, so there's at least one self, isn't there? And maybe there's loads of other selves as well. So no self is a little bit of a misleading idea. But it is to do with realizing that we are not separate from each other. We are not separate from each other, and also that we are not limited necessarily to our ideas about ourselves. And there's an amazing open possibility, according to Buddhism, that we can develop ourselves into. So when we do the loving kindness meditation, this is a really good opportunity for us to realize those two things. First of all, that we're not separate from each other, and secondly, that we have an unlimited sense of possibilities, a fantastic sense of possibilities, and we can have that sort of respect almost for ourselves. We can have that feeling that it's okay to be me. Of course, I'm not perfect. Of course, there are loads of things I can work on in myself, but I think that we tend to be much too hard on ourselves. I don't know if this is just in the West or in general. And so to have that sense of real love, real regard and concern for yourself is really important. It's a really important foundation. So in the metta bhavana meditation, we're cultivating that love, but not just for ourselves. We're also realizing our interconnectedness by having a sense that these other people around us are also real. They are real people with real lives, and they are worth respecting. They're worth valuing. They're worth being patient with when they are annoying and difficult. They're worth being warm towards. They're worth caring about. They're worth actually contributing to other people's lives as well is really important. Now, you could say, all this sounds very good, and you sort of wag your finger at people, or like at your children, and say, you should be nice to people, you should respect yourself, all that kind of thing. But those shoulds don't necessarily work very well. And that's why it's really good to have a meditation practice. The meditation practice means that you're actually working on the way you respond. You're not just saying, I ought to be different, I ought to be nicer to people, or I ought to be nicer to myself. You're saying, let's actually work on that a little bit. Let's use methods from traditional Buddhist teachings in order to move more towards that kind of thing. So we're going to be doing it in the meditation for ourselves. Then we're going to choose a good friend. Then we're going to choose a neutral person. Then we're going to choose a difficult person. And then we're going to radiate it out to all beings in the entire universe. So that's the meditation. And the thing about metta, loving kindness, is it's the attitude that we have to a friend, and we then develop that attitude so that it's available for strangers and even difficult people and for everybody we meet. It's not that we pretend everybody is our friend, or even that we like everybody. Of course you're not going to like everybody. Of course you can't make friends with everybody. But what you can do is have a friendly attitude, a friendly response, because you realize when you meet somebody, there's a real human being there. They are a potential friend. They are friends for some people. They are a son or a daughter of somebody. They're a mother or a father. They're a colleague. They're a sister or a brother. This is real about people, isn't it? And when we first meet them, they're just a body, just a face. Maybe we're a little bit, apprehensive about them, or worried about them, or bored about them, or even attracted to them, but not necessarily treating them as they are, as a real, whole, complete, wonderful, mysterious human being. And so in the metta bhavana meditation, it's good to decide who you're going to use in the stages first, and then to find ways of contacting your natural response of friendliness. We all have that. We know we can be friendly to people. We know we can do it with a good friend. So if you just close your eyes for a moment now and think of a good friend, and imagine that they were sitting next to you in the room here, and you were feeling quite relaxed with them and just happy to have them there. So just try that for a minute, and I'll give a little bell so that we can do that in silence. So just bringing to mind a good friend as if you were sitting next to them. See if you can picture their face or imagine their voice. What's it like for you when they're around, when you're with them? So that was just a little trial of it, but did you find that you could contact that natural sense of friendliness? You know, I know if you've had a really hard time, it can be difficult to do that if you've had a really difficult day, but I hope most of you managed to have a sense of that. So we know what it's like, I hope. Is that right? Put your hand up if you're not sure what I'm talking about. Okay, so we know what that is like, I think. And we probably know that sometimes we may even have that sense of friendliness even towards strangers. You know, if you're feeling on top of the world and things are going really well, or even when you're with your good friend or you've fallen in love or something, it may be, and then you suddenly, you're so kind to people, you're so nice to them, you're so interested in people, you know, just for at least for a short time, you know, and that's really nice when that happens. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to spread that friendliness, make it bigger, make it embrace more people. And that's why we're going through ourselves, because we are really important. We do need to be a friend to ourselves. If you can't be a friend to yourself, how can you be a friend to anybody else? If you don't care about your own welfare, what does it mean to say that you're wanting the welfare of others? So remember that. Remember that you really matter. You are really important. And that's the beginning of metta, is that sense. And then you can say, but also my friend is important. Even this stranger is important. Even this person I don't really get on very well with, even they are important. Does that make sense? And so the methods you can use, you can say phrases. So for example, in the first stage, you're thinking of yourself. You can say, may I be happy? May I feel secure? Those are the phrases that the Buddha uses in the sutta, the Metta Sutta, where he teaches this practice. May I feel happy? May I feel secure? But you may have your own phrases, things that you wish. You know, may I have a good year? May I enjoy myself? May I find, you know, healthy ways of living and healthy relationships, whatever works for you. Or you can just remember or imagine situations, places where you feel really. I used to think a lot about the botanic gardens in the city where I lived. And I just sort of imagine the smell of the herbs and the flowers and the feeling in the hothouse and the sense of peace that was there. So if you can do something like that, get yourself your favorite place. Or you can do it more physically, feeling warm and the warmth going out to everybody. Okay. So I'll remind you of what stage we're doing, and I'll lead you through the last stage. I know most of you have done this before, so sorry to tell you about it again, but it's good to hear about it and be reminded, I think, isn't it? You know, what it is you're trying to do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course, yes.
So it's, may I be happy, may I be...
What I suggested was, may I be happy, may I feel secure, because that sense of peace and safety can be really important, you know. But you don't, that is not, you don't have to do that. So you can choose your own phrases, whatever works for you. Yeah, maybe a good one, yeah. Laura. I think we probably, if it's not too noisy out there, we'd better have the door open just for the ventilation, help with ventilation, yeah. I'm sorry if it's a bit chilly in here. I hope online you're really nice and cozy wherever you are. We've got the windows open for obvious reasons. So if anyone needs a blanket or something, I don't know if we have it. Yeah, I can see at least one spare around. Does anyone need a blanket to feel a bit warmer? Good. Get yourself really nice and comfortable. This applies to you online as well. Nice and comfortable, solid, good solid base. Imagine you were a big old tree and you had this amazing root system that was really holding you against the worst hurricane. And you can feel like your legs are like your roots. So you feel really secure, really, really grounded. But from that grounding, like a tree, your spine is rising upwards. Not stiff, but just alive. Your spine is alive, and that aliveness goes to the very back of the top of your head. A little bit of extension up. But your shoulders, though, relax back and down so that your chest is open. Try and find a way of sitting so that you're reasonably comfortable. If you need to move, do it very mindfully and quietly. And now tuning into ourselves. I'll lead us through a little bit of body awareness. But remember, this body awareness is part of self-care. It's part of remembering that we really matter. And the body is the precious vehicle that takes us through our life and that gives us a chance to fulfill our potential. So feeling that care for the body. No doubt it lets us down a bit sometimes, but that's the nature of physical reality. Can you feel the energy moving in your body? Can you feel alive? Start by breathing in a few times and then breathing out. And as you breathe in, having the extension upwards, the life flowing into the body. And now on the out breaths, start to have a sense of release. We can be seated here, alive and upright and present, but we can also be soft. We're not too vigilant. We're not too tense. We're letting go into the softness, the spaciousness of having nothing we have to do, no calls on us for a short time at least. We can just be with ourselves kindly. And we could try a body awareness where rather than going gradually through the body, we do a sort of a swoosh through the body. As we breathe in, the swoosh of awareness goes from the feet, swooshes up, and goes to the very top of the head and the ends of the fingertips. As we breathe out, the swoosh returns again down into the earth. So it's like a very, very pleasant sort of mild electricity. The awareness, the mindfulness that surges through the body. Upwards on the in-breath and back down into the earth on the out-breath. And as you do that, you may find that you concentrate on certain areas that are a bit tense, that are a bit stiff, or that just maybe are numb, that just feel they need some attention. Swooshing through and finding parts of the body that need attention, need more life, or that need a sense of release. So awareness of the whole body, of the skin all over the body, as if the swoosh through the body was sort of drenching your skin with a warm, pleasant awareness. And also going beneath the skin, into the flesh and the muscles, into our internal organs, the brain, the lungs, the heart, the liver, the guts, everything inside. Having a sense of our insides, if that's not too weird. If it is, just go back to the skin. And then our bones, right to the marrow of the bones. You've got like a scaffolding, a framework of scaffolding that keeps you in one piece, keeps you upright and able to move. Isn't that amazing? All those scaffolding rods, the bones inside the body. So as we drench our body with awareness, we remember that it's a loving awareness. It's kind, it's a friend to ourselves. And so we move into the first stage of the metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness within ourselves, for ourselves. We can use the phrases, we can use memory and imagination, or we can stick with the body. Sense of warmth, sense of ease and peace. And as we tune into ourselves, we can remind ourselves that we have no hard, inviolable, separate center. We are fluid, we change all the time. We're like a river flowing. Rejoicing in that fluidity, that flexibility. We have lots of thoughts about ourselves and our limitations and our identity, but we can hold them quite loosely. Anything could happen. in our lives. May I be happy. May I feel secure. And now we just include in that awareness our good friend. It might help just to imagine they're sitting in the room quietly with us, or we can recall times we've been with them. So a straightforward friend, they may be from the past or the present. Wishing them happiness, wishing them a sense of stability and creativity in their lives, wishing them success, prosperity. If your mind wanders, just come back to a sense of yourself in the presence of your friend, paying attention to your friend, sending them your good wishes. And maybe we start to realize that they really matter to us. We also really matter. We're both important and we are connected. We can work for their welfare and happiness, and we can work for our own welfare and happiness, and find how they harmonize. Imagining them happy and fulfilled. Let's see if you can stay in touch with that basic sense of well-wishing as you call to mind a neutral person, someone who is not particularly important in your life, a neighbor, a work colleague, a relative, shopkeeper, or somebody in this class. That person who's maybe you know very little about their lives, but that person has many people who care about them, many people to whom they're very important. They also really matter. They're of enormous value. So we try and tune in with that, using our imagination. Imagine them happy and fulfilled. May they be happy. May they feel secure. Instead of just another shadow passing on the street, we realize they're a fully rounded human being with a history, a personality, with talents, with fears and weaknesses. May they be happy. The fourth stage, we return to ourselves, that sense of well-wishing and warmth, and we include in it a difficult person, at least who's a bit difficult in our lives. Someone, maybe there's a communication problem. It may just be temporary. We put on one side all our grievances or difficulties with them. And we just remember that they're a human being. Every human being needs to be aware that they are loved. It's one of the basic needs. Without it, we dry and shrivel. May they find that in their lives. May they find fulfillment. It's easy for lots of thoughts to arise in this stage. So if that happens, just come back to your own body and then be in the presence of that person. It may be enough just to imagine that they're around and you're cultivating calmness, non-reactivity in yourself. That can be really helpful. So now we assemble all four people together in our mind's eye, ourselves, the friend, the neutral person, and the difficult person. As if we had met together, we're sitting quietly, maybe gazing out at a beautiful view, a sunset. And we see if we can cultivate a sense of ease in the company of these people, including them in our well-wishing, without favoritism, without picking or choosing. They all matter. All four of us, including ourselves, are important. Wanting the welfare of all of us. And then more and more gather around us. All the people who are meditating with us online and in the room here. As we become aware of these human beings, rich and mysterious, we wish each other well. And we accept and receive the love that's coming from others. The warmth and well-wishing grows and spreads between us. We're not alone doing this. We're not separate. We're connected. We're not the only one that has to save the world. We can join together and make life at least a little better for others and for ourselves. We let it spread further into the building where we are and the street outside. It spreads to humans and to animals, all living creatures. May they be happy. May they feel secure. In the parks and the gardens, the canals and rivers, in the sky, in the earth, on the trains and the buses, the cars and the bicycles, in offices and homes, through the whole of our city. See if you can let your imagination expand and open up like a golden light of the sunrise that touches the trees and touches the living beings with friendliness, spreading round the world like the line of sunrise chasing through the hills, through the windows of people's houses, the travellers, the workers, the animals. And imagine as the world spins, that line of love, like the sunrise, is moving in a westerly direction, across from Britain into Ireland, and over to America, South and Central and North America, through the jungles and the cities, and the ships. May all be happy. That sunrise line moves across America into the Pacific, to Australasia, the islands, through to Japan, Korea, spreading through Asia, Places you've been, places you've never been, people you've met, and the millions of strangers. May they all be happy. Spreading through China, South Asia, Southeast Asia, into Russia, into Iran, Middle East, Europe, Mediterranean, and through Africa. May all beings on this planet be well and happy. So we just sit with that expansive feeling for a minute, absorbing the effects of the practice. Sabbe sata sukhi hontu. May all beings be happy.